Well, the first question that I want to start off with was just an easy question of how was your time in EAL so far in the previous 4 seasons that you've played in?
Well, it was great. If it wasn't great, I wouldn't want to come back, right?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense now. Of course, that was prevented now with their new enforcement of the new rules, which, to the dismay of many, in all honesty, wasn't that widely accepted. But just to give a bit more context to the time that you had in EAL, what are your more fondest memories of the time that you spent within the competition?
Well, developing new friendships, meeting new people. Of course, traveling to Netherlands across half of Europe to meet all of the people behind the EAL was great. And
Yeah.
like the overall feel of the competition.
All right. Yeah, of course, I was also there at the meetup at November. It was definitely something that we can
Yeah.
recommend. Also, by the way, short disclaimer, won't be edited probably. Then, for the third question, what do you think about the current identity that EAL is trying to put forth and how they want to present themselves to the general public?
Well, we know that how EAL started. It was basically a competition for a few friends. There was 6 teams in the beginning. The last season there was how many? 12 teams, I think, or 10. Don't remember the exact number. But yeah, they've been trying to push EAL as like a serious competition for the sake of like being a competition for the friends. They've been trying to shift from the casual friend competition towards something that's is like an official thing.
All right. Then, considering the current rule set, of course, with the maximum ranks and everything, do you really think, or rather, do you think that the EAL itself does have the potential to become one of the build-up competitions for the higher level ERLs, for example? Like that they can become a stepping stone for those competitions?
Oh, I don't think so at the moment. Like they would need to revisit the rules because the rules as they are now are, as I said a few couple of times, they're full of holes. They can be exploited, so they cannot really be up there as a top tier tournament or league.
So pretty much, if I understand correctly, right, then the opinion right here is that the EAL does not have the potential to become like a stepping stone of the ERLs just yet. Then that's also because of rank limit and other loopholes that can be found within the rule set of the competition itself. Then do you think the change of identity, because of course, as you also mentioned, it started out as a more friendly competition, do you think that the competition would grow better eventually if it stayed as a more unique concept, which was a more, well, community based competition compared to the serious competition that it's trying to become now?
Mm, it's really tough to say because I actually like the shift they've been trying to make towards a more serious competition, but they are just not doing it right. Like from a production point of view, it's great. The streams are great. The production itself, it's great. The content that's made here and there with pop quizzes, that's great as well. It just, I think the rules and maybe the lack of willingness from staff of EAL trying to communicate with staff, I think that's why it's it could not be up there as a big thing. But back to your question, I think it if they only revisited those weak sides that I mentioned, they could make it as a big competition.
All right. So then the potential is there, as you have said. Well,
Yeah.
that's a good thing for the competition in its own right, but of course, it then does still need to, well, tackle most of their problems. Do you have some particular problems like that you can specify, for example? Like, this is a huge problem for the competition. And to also add to that, do you also have advice for the organization on how they can address those problems?
Well, I think I had some ideas in the past on how to improve the league, and uh, like I'll say it again. I'm really unhappy with the current set of rules, especially with the rank rules, and I remember when you were hosting those bug games of League, where you basically had the rank rule, where the average rank of team should be around diamond, and it was up to the players to manage how to balance those roles. Like you could have, for example, a master T top laner and platinum bot lane, and in average it would basically make a diamond average skill skill
Yeah,
level.
to just balance it out and make sure that the numbers even out. Do you think that some form of point system that we've also tried to address ourselves and to think of, do you think a point system could be placed instead of the current maximum rank limit so that you can also have a system that does balance it out within the EAL? Or do you think that with the current way the board is running it, that wouldn't work?
I mean, I think it should be implemented. I think it's a better than a maximum rank rule than that implemented right now. And of course, there will be still problems with Smurfs that are not posting their main accounts or decade accounts, but you cannot really address this as it is right now with any rule. So I think it's better to have the point system, like credit system.
Yeah. That does make a lot of sense in all honesty, because like it's easier to balance and it also leaves more room to grow. And even if someone then ranks up, like, do you think there should be rules in place that, well, we've actually had this in the past, thinking of it, because we implemented a certain rule for EAL's third season. I remember that. We had a rule that said that players that previously played in the competition could still play on teams as long as they played for the same brand or organization that they've played for before, as to have like maybe you can retain a strong team because that was brought up as a point at the time. Get was there as the major team back in season two, and they would then be able to fully transition their team into season three. And there were obviously complaints because Get would then likely still win the competition because they had players that would then exceed the rank limit that was set at that time. However, by enforcing the rank rules that we have now, it also forces teams to no longer climb, which they were able to in previous seasons. Do you think that that will eventually come to bite the competition for the people that actually try harder now because they want to grow within the competition, but then rank so high that they can't play, or that they then limit themselves from going further to where they could be because they want to remain in the competition?
Well,
Do you
that's what happened with me, right? I like playing League. I like the competition. I was trying to improve for the last 4 seasons of EAL, and it just happened that I was playing a lot of solo queue, and I had some luck. And with the improvement I gained from the league, uh, I peaked above the limit that was set by EAL, and like I don't really understand why should I be kicked out just because I'm playing League, because like let's take two top laners from EAL from last season, John Phobel and Sir Crocodile from Get and HTE.
Yeah.
They they've been on mine, if not above my skill level, yet they are placed in lower ranks. Why? Because in John Phobel's case, he was not playing that much solo queue, and maybe in Get Crocodile's case, in a Sir Crocodile's case, he maybe didn't have that luck that would need to push him through to Master Tier if he played. I think he played a little, but still, I think they should be up there. Yet they are not.
Yeah.
So
It also, in the end, of course, caused the downfall of Get within finals. They still managed to make it to finals, obviously, in the season four. Their team is still solid, even if they have all now become TFT mains, right? It's kind of like a wonder situation. They just play a lot of a different game, but they have enough skill to then still reach that high. It just goes to show that once they would actually play the game, that they would also exceed that limit and then would have also been kicked out. But because they don't do it, then they don't get punished for it.
yeah,
Well, then one last thing that I kind of want to ask, because we're gonna bring this interview now to an end. Is there anything you would still like to say to the people that are either in EAL or running EAL? You can choose either one, whichever you want.
Well, like from people in AL, I thank you that you actually want me back in league. It feels really great when you have people behind me. And for the management, I guess revisit your rules, try to communicate more with the community itself, and yeah, just organize something that has future.
All right
And
then.
that's all from me. Yeah.
Then I would like to thank you for the time we have spent. It was a pleasant interview and glad to have these answers. Like it was very clear and very decisive. So
Thank you for inviting me.